York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Well Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And a chilly Wednesday morning to you. I'm Gary Sutton, and good morning, and welcome to the Gary Sutton Show, the Main Street of York, right here on WOYK, brought to you by Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. Innovative legal solutions for your business. We are a law firm for today's business world. Check them out at barley.com. Mark McKenzie here this morning on a Wednesday morning, August the 27th, 2025. 53 degrees when I was out on Brooks Robinson Plaza this morning. 53 degrees, Mark.
Chilly, no doubt.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was just telling Gary, when I come to work, I never feel the temperature. So I just went out to empty the trash, and I'm like, wow, it's really cold outside. Yeah. But I had been out like an hour earlier, so I never felt it then. But
might have been warmer. I don't know.
That's possible. But 53. Ooh.
53 degrees today. So we are moving on fall and into football weather. Now I'm starting to feel the football weather a little bit more. As we get ready for football season for pros. This weekend, of course, college kicks off. Penn State playing Nevada.
Or is it Nevada?
Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah, you say Nevada, I'll say Nevada, but never the twain shall meet. Anyway, our call-in number today, 717-846-9870. Our text number, 833-478-4729. Here's a question, and this may sound like a toss-off question. This may sound like the question you ask when you don't have anything else in your mind, but it's not. All right, I will tell you. With everything coming at you every day in the news, usually starting with President Trump, okay, everything coming at you, what is the most important issue for our country at this moment in time, do you think? And I think that I like to ask that question at several different junctures during the year because I think we change on that occasion. Sometimes we do not. But what is the most important issue for our country at this moment in time? That's up at Gary Sutton's show today
easy.
At Facebook. Yeah.
When Travis and Taylor tie the knot.
Travis who? Taylor who? Oh, I have no idea what you're talking
about. Boy.
They must be, do they live here in town?
No. But they live in America's hearts.
They live in America's hearts. They're like the Dallas Cowboys of love.
You think?
America's team. Right?
Yes.
There it is.
Oh,
yeah.
From that.
I thought I'd take that from.
Yeah, not because it's a winner.
I didn't know Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are dating. I had no idea.
Shocking.
Oh, shocking! I tell you, I it's amazing. And of course, it's taken the country by storm to the point that President Trump mentioned it at a cabinet meeting yesterday.
He was asked.
3 hours and 15-minute cabinet meeting yesterday. The Godfather wasn't that long. There you go. Anyway, check out Yanni's today, by the way, at lunchtime. Great place to be at lunch. They either at 310 Town Center Drive, right here in West Manchester Town Center, or over at the new location, 2815 Concord Drive in York. That's over there near Best Buy. Either one here on either side of town works. And I'll tell you what, the best Mediterranean food you're going to find anywhere here in the area. Okay? Let's see what else we have. Oh, you can find us today when you're not listening on the radio, the new WOYK app, which you can find. Just look it up. It's free. Or 989WOYK.com, or just listen on FM at 98.9 or AM 1350 WOYK. So you have all that going for you. And finally, Mark, if that wasn't enough, Mark's head is spinning. And finally, if that wasn't enough, you can listen to our show again and again and again and again, and then seek immediate help. It's on the WOYK on YouTube, or you can listen to my show and watch it, Just a Voice on Main Street, which is a one-on-one interview type format that I do. I'm doing some new ones next week that I'm looking forward to, and I'll get those up there as soon as possible. So a lot of things happening today on the show. But perhaps we should check on the day today, national days, because the national day people work hard at this, Mark. They sit down every day. Today is International Lottery Day. International Lottery Day. So if you have a few bucks you don't know what to do with,
Well,
waste them on the lottery. Today is also National Just Because Day. You're doing something just because. 2 days to Labor Day weekend, ladies and gentlemen. 2 days to Labor Day weekend, or as Mark likes to say, 2 days until a 4-day week next week.
wait a second.
Because we'll be off on Monday.
You blew right by the lottery.
Well, I'm going to
thing.
come back to it. And 8 days to the NFL season kicks off next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. Mark counting it down in seconds and minutes.
Actually, I messed it up. I thought it was this week.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
yesterday.
it's next week.
Well, that's the anticipatory nature of where
Yes.
you're at. But let's come back here to National Lottery Day because it does bear some examination.
Well, the neat part is that I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. The Powerball jackpot for tonight is $815 million. The cash value,
I don't mess with
368.
it till it gets to $1 billion. That's hardly worth my
I'm just
time.
saying that, usually it's, lower than that.
Sure.
So, if you're going to play, I'm just saying, if you're going to
Not forcing you into it, not suggesting you
risk,
should or shouldn't. Losing money.
Wouldn't that be a great story? Hey, I won on International Lottery Day.
And then
It's possible.
and then you'd go hypocrite. If you didn't ever do it.
By the way, Mega Millions is, I think it's 277.
Tisk,
So-
tisk. Yes.
All right. So some of the other days.
What do we got? I hear a little jaunt in your step this morning. Maybe things are a little bit better on the National Day scene.
Nah, not really.
No, okay, all right.
The food holiday, particularly,
Oh, which is the area that you examine fairly.
it's the most important.
It
to me.
is. Yeah, I understand.
It's National Pot of Cream Day.
Pot of cream?
Pot, not pot of cream.
I thought we were in the South. Pot o' cream.
Pot of cream.
Pot of cream.
Yes, it's a French.
What is that?
It's a French. I'm going to read it from the. It's a delicious custard dessert.
Oh.
It's served out of ramekins and
Little round things there that
Yes,
you're too
yes.
cheap to get a decent bowl, so you
Well,
put a ramekin right there.
You're too lazy
Yeah.
to make a pie crust.
Right.
So this is what
Toss
you
it in
do.
a bowl and freeze it
Yeah,
and
it's
whatever.
a French dessert.
All
It's
right.
a pot of cream.
Figures of French. Yeah.
Yes. And if you've got eggs around and cream, which is, the farmers had that.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you're going to whip up, I don't think.
No?
No.
Okay.
It is Tarzan Day.
Oh. Oh.
There you
That
go.
was a Johnny Weissmuller.
I figured I'd let you do it.
Yeah, I learned it from Johnny Weissmuller, the famous Olympic swimmer who became Tarzan. Didn't have to work real hard on the lines. So that he never got an Oscar for that either.
He was like a Olympic swimmer, so he was good.
Me, Tarzan, you, Jane.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty much the
It
extent
is-
of the talk.
National Petroleum Day.
Yeah.
And Pennsylvania
Yeah.
is the reason why.
Well, there you go.
Do you know why?
Probably because of Titusville.
1859,
How's that?
petroleum discovered in Titusville,
Thank
Pennsylvania,
you. Yeah. See?
leading to the world's first successful oil well.
Yep. Yanked that out from somewhere in the recent past. I don't know. And,
Good.
So what else?
And it is one other thing. It is World Rock, Paper, Scissors Day.
Oh, Lord. We have a day for that? Rock, paper, scissors?
Well, I'm thinking there's
Not-
probably a national Rock, Paper, Scissors Day. This is the world
Right,
one.
right. And there's probably a convention somewhere with that. Yeah, check it in. National Rock.
Food holidays for tomorrow, just a little tease or
All right, go ahead.
a little better. A little better.
A little. And we qualify it by saying a little.
Well, because part of it is contrived. But you
Go
know
ahead.
what? If you're going to contrive
What
it,
kind of ice cream's tomorrow?
and it's not ice cream.
No, okay.
No.
All right. What do we have?
It's a fast food favorite.
French fries.
I'm gonna make you wait.
Really?
Yes. So when you do rock, paper,
Another
scissors,
burger day. Another burger day. Oh, no.
Rock, paper.
Oh, no.
When you do rock, paper, scissors,
I hit it, didn't I?
What do you say? What do you usually say?
Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always a rock guy. Yeah. Because my life rocks.
Is that what it is?
I rock. Yeah, that's why I say it.
Lord.
I know, I'm sorry. Anyway, our long national nightmare is over. Ladies and gentlemen, Cracker Barrel has caved in. Yeah, this has been a really tough month for senior citizens and others, not the heat and humidity. Cracker Barrel's logo redesigned, but relief is on the way. Last night, Cracker Barrel announced that they were caving and would scrap plans to replace their classic logo with a less dated refresh. They said, "We thank our guests for sharing your voices and love for Cracker Barrel. We said we would listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away, and our old-timer will remain. At Cracker Barrel, it's always been and always will be about serving up delicious food, warm welcomes, and the kind of country hospitality that feels like family. We look forward to welcoming you to our table soon. In other words, for those of you that left, come back, please. For the hell, that last part is a nudge, like, hey, it's great to see so much love for our tradition online. Now come in and give us your money. Business has really struggled ever since the pandemic. The stock, by the way, is down 65% since 2019. That we did not know. Cracker Barrel didn't say this explicitly, but it sounds like the attempted logo refresh was part of an effort to modernize the brand, to appeal to a broader and younger group of customers. But they didn't handle the new rollout well, and Cracker Barrel enthusiasts freaked out. Clearly, nostalgia is important to these folks.
What is is that what it is? Is that what's important?
I think it's just
Cancel
people don't
culture?
like change. No, I think people just don't like change of stuff they're used to. I think it's what it comes down to. I don't think it's anything political. I don't think it's anything
You
cultural.
think this is going to reverse their long slide?
I don't know. That is another story. See, from the practical standpoint, I think they were right in trying to do something
Exactly.
to rebrand, because guess what? A lot of the people going to Cracker Barrel right now ain't going to be going there in 20 years or 10 years or 5 years in some cases, because there's a lot of older people going there, and we just get older, and
You can't eat like
we
that
step
all
off the stage.
Yes.
But I do think it is a place where people do gather. And I think older people like to gather. I'm not so sure about the younger generations. I'm not going to indict them that they don't like to gather, but they don't do as much out there as they do online and other places, or order Uber or order food Uber or whatever it is, Grubhub and all that kind of stuff. So I think they need to do something. I mean, I think that 65% that they've lost since 2019
But that
is
had
not about any change of brand.
Right, exactly.
No.
Exactly. So they were trying to do something. The fact that some people got pissed off about it is, do you think those people that were upset are now all of a sudden going to
They don't care if there's a rebrand. They don't care if a younger comes in. They care.
Do you think they care about going to Cracker Barrel and helping them and eating their food?
Maybe, you know what? This might be the one thing that will help them for a while. I think it will be short-lived. I do, because I think they'll say, oh, we won. Let's go there and eat now. We kind of owe them a little something, maybe one breakfast, and then we'll see you later. No, I'm just saying, I think that people may come in now a little bit more. I'll tell you what. Go to the one over there in Lancaster across from American Music Theater.
Yes.
Good grief. It is always filled when I've gone. I've stood in line. Well, you're going to have a 45-minute wait. No, I'm not.
That's the exception.
Yeah, but I'm saying, depending on where it's located,
right?
There you go. And if Cracker Barrel stands for anything, for better or worse, it's character and now nostalgia. Oh, and knickknacks too. Yeah.
The top-selling item at Cracker Barrel?
I don't know. What is it?
What would you think?
Wow, biscuits.
Mama's pancake breakfast.
Well, that would be my second guess. Would have been pancakes.
You get 2 pancakes with real maple syrup, by the way,
and a mess o' butter.
2 farm fresh eggs.
Yes.
Choice of bacon or sausage.
When you go there, you're going for the carbs. I mean, you're not going there for the salad. You're not going there for anything like that. You go in the door and say salad or Cracker Barrel, and they're probably going to say, "What? What the hell is that?" But anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more. By the way, the big news of the day coming up. Drum roll, please. But here we go. We'll be right back with that here on the Gary Sutton Show. I was tongue-tied there for a moment. That's why I was stuttering.
It wasn't just a normal Revolution game last night.
No, it was not. And we'll tell you all about that, too. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 619.
Swings and drives it deep to left field, down at the wall, it is gone! Jalen Miller unloads a 2-run homer to left out toward the Revs bullpen. And on Miller's 17th of the year, the Revs jump in front 2-0 here in the third inning. 1-0. Swing and a line drive base hit to left. Down the line it goes. Fontana around third to score. And Lewis digging for second. He pulls in, standing ahead of the throw. Another rocket. RBI double from Brandon Lewis. And we're tied 3-3 here in the fourth. The 1-1 change up, line drive to center. And coming in is McNeely. Makes a diving play and he tumbles over with it. An outstanding play in center, straight away, coming straight in. One down. Pitch. Oh, back to the screen. Here comes a Rojo. Throw to the plate. He dives. He is out at home plate. Are you kidding me? His hand was in before the tag, and Warren Nicholson absolutely blew it. And Rick Forney comes racing in to usher a Rojo away. They can't afford to lose a player. A game-changing call at the plate, and I cannot believe that. We had a straight-on look from the booth here, and Rojo's hand was in, and this game is still tied.
And that would have made a difference. The Revs would have gone in the lead. Instead, 2 runs scored in the bottom of the 8th by Long Island, and they won 5-3. The Revs now 6 back, 23-20. And the second half, Northern Division race, Lancaster won last night 5-1 over Hagerstown. They're now 29-14. The Revs are 23-20. And Long Island is right in between them at 28-15. Still only 1 game back, though. So Long Island's still making a race right now, Mark, to try to win that second half championship. And, of course, the Revs have 5 more games with them this week. Incredible. I think the Revs are going to have become part-time citizens of Long Island by the end of the week. But whoever made that schedule, that was a brilliant decision, wasn't it? 6 games in a row. I don't know if I've ever heard of 6 games in a row at someone else's place. And then you have 3 games at Lancaster after that. So talk about a torturous road for the Revs. 8 more games now against the top 2 contenders in front, which is good because you control your own destiny to some degree. But the Revs with a tough loss last night, 5-3. It was a really well-pitched game by both teams. The Revs scored 2, I think, in the top of the 4th, and then 3 came back against them in the bottom of the 4th. And then they got 1 more run that stayed that way until the 8th inning. It was some really good pitching last night. But Revs at it again tonight, 6:15 in Long Island. That'll be airtime. Daryl bringing you the game there from Long Island. As you could heard Daryl say, he may have disagreed a little bit with the umpire. He had one call last night where he said they scored a run, and he said, ground ball between shortstop and third in the left field. Of course it is. And it was just like, so Daryl is like he lives and dies with them. I mean, he really does. He's a great call. I mean,
well, he's called every
announcer.
Game, practically every game they've ever played.
But 2.
Yeah,
in all the years they've been around, every game but 2. He's only missed 2 games. That's since 2007, ladies and gentlemen. That is 17, 18, 19 years? 20 years almost?
Almost.
Yeah, or I guess you'd say 18. So, yeah.
So
but every game but 2. So, but he really gets into it. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
here we go. So this is the big news.
The big news of the day and yesterday. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, whoever they are engaged. Yes.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Were you?
Well, I figured I was hoping it would happen. They seem like they're a happy couple, but you never know these days. Young people, commitments, maybe, it's not in their plans. They're both successful in their areas and, not really hanging on it, waiting for it, but boom, there it was. And we're like, oh, well, good for them.
Point, counterpoint. If I were cynical.
If you were what?
If I were a cynical person, which I am not by nature, I might suggest that Taylor Swift is using her love life to keep her name in the news every day in the run-up to the release of her new album. And, of course, the beginning of football season.
She already did that.
I know. It's like she does. I don't think she really needs that.
No.
She pretty much controls things when she wants to.
That's exactly right.
But let's skip over all that and just say that whatever her motive, she and Travis Kelce announced their engagement yesterday to a waiting world. They put out stuff on Instagram. They both posted a photo gallery of the 2 of them in a rose garden.
Did you see the ring?
Yeah. And Travis is down on one knee in front of her in the first picture.
In a garden.
He might want to get used to that position. I'm just saying. Do I sound cynical? I don't mean to sound cynical, but the caption says, quote, your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married, quote unquote. There's also a close-up of this massive ring, which Travis reportedly had a hand in creating. I think it has Kansas City world champions on. No, it's a different ring. Sorry about that. Do I sound cynical? Anyway, Travis' father, Ed Kelce, says the proposal happened about 2 weeks ago at a garden in Lee's Summit, Missouri.
See, could you keep a secret that long?
A garden in Lee's Summit, Missouri. She must have had a concert there or something. Anyway, obviously the corporate world is reacting to the news. Do you think? Even Starbucks had to mention it on the day it brought back the pumpkin spice latte. That's how important it is. On the day they brought back pumpkin spice latte, they mentioned Travis Kelce.
The conspiracy?
And and her, whatever her name is. Anyway, here's
the funniest joke I saw was that.
Go ahead.
What was it? It had. I think it's from The Onion, and it said Taylor. A conspiracy conspiracy believes that songs on Taylor Swift's album are really about her.
And here's how important it was. Yesterday, here's a twist you didn't see coming. President Trump actually congratulated them.
Well, he was asked.
Well, he was asked about the news during a cabinet meeting.
Yes.
And by God, in a cabinet meeting, shouldn't that come up? I mean, I'm thinking that, and he said, I wished him a lot of luck. He's a great player, and I think he's a great guy, and I think she's a terrific person, so I wished him a lot of luck. Heard the president say it yesterday. Has President Trump forgotten that he's been talking trash about Taylor since like 2018? And that, just a year ago, he posted, I hate Taylor Swift in all caps, then bragged about how she's no longer hot because of it. But yesterday, he was conciliatory. Wonder if he'll send him
until
again.
he's not.
I want until he's not, which is today. I mean, who knows today? I guarantee you, Dave, if they said something about him, it would not be conciliatory. Anyway, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, now you are set for the day. Michael Gear is up next. The life of James Dobson. Michael Gear is going to have something to say about that, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 6:30. what year are we celebrating? This
1980. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Wait. I was going to do that.
Go
No, it's
ahead.
92.
92.
1992. Color Me Bad and All for Love. It was a happy song.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. No,
But 92, you were just getting into radio. And
I was.
Yes.
Around 91, actually, I started. Actually, 87 was my first
you
time
were
I got
distracted.
in. But I was a mess. Anyway, welcome back. Gary Sutton Show here on the main street of York. It is a Wednesday morning, and it is 6:35 here on the Gary Sutton Show, which means it's time to hear from Michael Gear, the president of the Pennsylvania Family Institute. You can find him at pafamily.org. And Michael, wanted to talk a little bit this morning about a gentleman who passed away on the 21st, and that was Dr. James Dobson. And when you talk about family, when you talk about a guy who was a powerhouse, a voice for people around the country, Dr. James Dobson would have been right there at the top of the list. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yep. It's a time that I've been remembering Dr. Dobson with his passing because he was very influential in my own life, just as a father and a husband, but also in encouraging the founding of organizations like the Pennsylvania Family Institute. He himself founded an organization that many people are familiar with called Focus on the Family.
Yep.
That at its peak his program was on over 7,000 radio stations across America, bringing information about and wisdom on how to raise families. He wrote books, one that put him on the map called Dare to Discipline, when raising boys, or bringing up boys, I think it was called, When God Doesn't Make Sense. A number of books that he published had a significant influence on families and on the culture all across America.
You were talking, though, about an effect he had on what you do today, because he also established independent state organizations. He made it a move to do that, to champion the family, and also advance biblical truth and public policy. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so back in the Dr. Dobson served actually and advised 5 different presidents over his tenure at Focus on the Family and over the years. But as part of that, he served on some commissions. Jimmy Carter, President Carter, had him on the White House Commission on Families. And then with President Reagan on the issue of pornography and also on gambling, looking at some of these issues that were impacting families. But one of the things that he told me and talked about was at Focus on the Family, because they were on the radio and talking about family issues and things, they received in a year's time hundreds of thousands of letters every year, and much of that he described as pain mail, which was families that were writing about marital breakup or children who were acting out or dealing with drug abuse, also physical abuse, sexual abuse, all sorts of different things that were happening with the family and family breakup. And he realized that much of what was being seen in the damage that was coming to families was not just because of some kind of erosion or atrophy, but that there were forces in society, including in public policy, that were making it harder for fathers to be fathers and for families to stay together, things like marriage tax penalties and other things. And out of that, he realized that there needed to be some sort of engagement by people of faith, people of values, of common sense values, to engage in the political realm and the policy realm specifically, to encourage policies that strengthen families. And out of that, then he encouraged the startup of independent organizations, of which there are now 40 what we call family policy councils in the different states across America.
Wow. And of course, Pennsylvania Family Institute being one of those.
Yes.
When you talk about Dr. Dobson, he was not a pastor, but he was that only child of a pastor father. So kind of interesting here. A lot of people think would assume that he was a pastor. He was not. Talk a little bit about him as a person.
Yeah, I've seen, over the years, people, TV commentators or whatever call him Reverend Dobson, and he was not a reverend. He was he actually was a clinical psychologist, a pediatric psychologist. That's how he got his start, just working with families and children at the University of Southern California. And out of that, he saw sort of the permissive attitudes that were being promoted for parenting by Dr. Benjamin Spock in the 50s and 60s, very famous psychologist who was telling parents, don't discipline your children, let them kind of be who they are, sort of thing. And Dr. Dobson and his book Dare to Discipline was kind of a reaction in the other direction, saying, no, children need definitive guidance. You're a coach, Gary. You know
right.
that even as teenagers or whatever, they still need some discipline and guidance and direction as they mature and grow into adulthood. And so that kind of put him on the map and got him then. He produced a film series called Focus on the Family. Out of that, the ministry started Focus on the Family, which grew to be, a ministry that impacted millions of Americans and millions of people around the world.
Dr. Dobson died on the 21st of this month, not quite a week ago. I saw Tony Perkins of the Family Research Council shared a comment. He said, few people have had the positive, Christ-honoring impact on the family as Dr. Jim Dobson. His legacy will be lasting. And he said, my parents used his instructions to shape our home as a family of new Christians, and I then had the privilege of working alongside him to protect marriage and family. Dr. Dobson will be missed, but like other influential Christian leaders of this era, he has raised many more in his wake. You had a chance to know him personally, Michael.
Yes.
What kind of man was he personally as just an individual?
Well, he was a bold and courageous man. He took a lot of criticism for the positions that he took because they were, in many cases, countercultural. And yet he stuck to those things. He understood the truth of it. But he was also a very kind and gentle man, especially when you watched him interact with children. I remember once, first time I met him was back at our or one of the first times I met him, actually, second time, but he came into Pennsylvania to speak at the Pennsylvania Family Institute's 10th anniversary banquet back in 1999, and he met my kids, and just the way he interacted with children, and I saw him with other children, indicated he had a real heart for these families, and especially children and moms and dads who were trying to raise them, and just a kind and gentle man who thought that the principles that he espoused, especially those that came from biblical principles, were instrumental in guiding families in the right direction.
You wrote in the piece that you put out about him, you said he did not seek fame or influence for its own sake, but to call us all back to the bedrock of family, faith, and freedom. Is that a dying gasp, or is that a call to arms, or is it somewhere more inclusive than that? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I was recently on a television program with Jeff Coleman, who asked me sort of about the legacy of Dr. Dobson and my thoughts about his passing. And I said, history has shown us that no individual can fill someone else's shoes.
Yes.
That God makes unique people, but that we have sort of principles and roles and things that we can fill. And so I said it was time really for people who were influenced by Dr. Dobson and understand those biblical principles and principles of parenting to sort of take up that mantle in their own way, both in their own families, but then to engage in the community and society and beyond, to build strong and healthy families that are honestly the bedrock of every prospering society.
Are there other Dr. Dobsons coming along? With the other looks at culture that people have now, obviously there are a lot of things out there. Do you see other Dr. Dobsons on the horizon, or maybe even out there on the stage right now, that are going to be as influential as he was?
It's going to be different, and part of that is the way people communicate nowadays,
right.
Just in terms of the expansion of outlets through everybody can have a podcast now if they want. And so for somebody, in the same way that, when you and I were growing up, there were 3 television stations basically, or 3
right.
networks, and everybody kind of watched the same TV shows, and you stood around the water cooler or at school and talked about the same show you watched last night. So it's going to be hard for someone to have as widespread a voice as Dr. Dobson did. But the principles that he stood for, I think, are gaining an embrace again in our society after I think people are looking and saying, hey, wait a minute, things are not working. Families are in disarray in many respects, and the society's in disarray, and we're polarized, and we need to find ways to come back. And I think some of those biblical principles of loving one another, caring for one another, and, servant leadership are things that I think can bring our society back.
It's interesting. I read different polls. I read polls, for example, a lot of people are not going to church anymore. churches are for sale. We read one the other about churches are trying to become places where there's coffee houses and there's shops. And, there's a church there too. They're redecorating the way they look. And then I read on the positive side of things that younger generations are becoming more spiritual, that they are much more in the direction of saying, hey, there is something greater than ourselves. So you look out there, it's kind of a mixed bag as to where, no matter how they do it, through social media or whatever, the next group comes along and goes forward. But there is hope, I think, in maybe thinking that there's something beyond just me or just this moment, that there are people who believe in a greater power than what's here now. Final thoughts on that this morning.
Well, I think that's right, and I think we can't leave God out of the equation. I mean, Benjamin Franklin famously prayed that God is integrally involved in the affairs of men, and that we've seen revivals in the past, and as God engages and things like that, there's always that hope in Him, even as we see challenges in our society. Turning to God, I think, and seeing revival would be a significant change that we certainly hope that God brings about here in the United States.
I guess the final thing is, Dr. Dobson had a way on Focus on the Family, because on our previous place we worked, we had Focus on the Family every day. But he had a way of telling stories, of telling almost like parables, but they were stories that people could relate to. How do you talk today in a way that relates to society as it is now, and yet not cave in on your principles in doing so? How's that for the billion-dollar question this morning?
Well, I think, that's kind of what you do on the radio program, is telling stories or little news clips and stuff, and then relating them to people's personal lives. That's sort of what I think Dr. Dobson was so good at, was taking many of these biblical principles that people may sort of understand, but then putting them into practical terms and telling stories that help people understand, okay, here's how I can apply that to myself, or I see how that worked in someone else's life. I've tried to emulate that to some degree at Pennsylvania Family Institute with the letters that I write and things, because that way of communicating really is the way Jesus communicated, these parables and telling stories that really hit home. And that's, even when you listen, I think people can probably say when they're sitting in church and a pastor starts to tell a story, suddenly their ears perk up. They want to hear the story. And that's a great way to communicate. We learned a lot, I think, from Dr. Dobson in that way.
Final thought on Dr. James Dobson this morning from you, Michael.
Well, I'm hoping to be able to go out to his memorial service. We'll be on October 4th in Denver, Colorado, and I think there'll be thousands of folks there because he impacted so many lives and their works. I'm honored to have met him and to just be a part of his legacy through the work that we do at Pennsylvania Family Institute.
Michael, appreciate it this morning. Thank you for talking about Dr. James Dobson. You can also read Michael's thoughts there at pafamily.org. That's pafamily.org, the Pennsylvania Family Institute website. Michael, thank you for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you again next Wednesday morning.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, my friend. Take care. Michael Gear, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Dr. James Dobson died last week on August 21st. We take a break. We come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's 647.
So let's go back in time for a group that, well, check this out.
No, you're never gonna get it. Never ever gonna get it. No, not this time. No, you're never gonna get it. My love. Never ever gonna get it.
Oh, my.
Yeah, okay.
In vogue.
Never ever gonna get it.
Yeah. In vogue, huh? Okay, yeah, I do remember them.
They were very hot for a very short period of time.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Kind of remind you a little bit of Dreamgirls, a little bit, the look
yes,
from the musical. Yeah. But there you go. Anyway, welcome back.
Yes.
Gary Sutton Show. It's 6:52. Have you heard about the Zone Zero, the rise of effortless exercise? And I say that to a person in this room who exercises quite hard.
What?
Mark McKenzie. You do
What is
good
this?
Okay, so this is called Zone Zero, the rise of effortless exercise in a nutshell. Zone Zero, this is from Study Find, so I know it's 100% right.
Yeah.
In Zone Zero exercise is extremely gentle movements, even slower than most warm-ups, where your heart rate stays below the usual Zone 1 range. Examples include strolling, stretching, light yoga, or pottering in the garden, activities easily enough to chat through comfortably. Research shows even very light activity can improve circulation, regulate blood sugar, lower cardiovascular risk, ease stress, and support mental health. Its power lies in accessibility and consistency. It's sustainable, helps recovery, and counters sedentary lifestyles, even if it won't train you for a marathon, okay? Now, the takeaway, movement doesn't always have to be hard. Gentle, regular activity still counts and can build lasting health benefits. So there you go, Mark.
well, versus what? Sitting on the couch watching TV?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or versus, running 10 miles a day. I mean,
Yeah, but no, who does that?
I mean, it can almost look too easy. Athletes gliding along on a
Exactly.
bike, runners shuffling at a pace slower than most people's warm. Yeah, there you go. So,
Yes.
but
Okay.
at least it's something. It's something.
Well, speaking of something, we need to, since we do live in America, so we have a recall to tell you about.
Oh, no.
Select Hostess Ding Dongs are part of a market withdrawal issued by J.M. Smucker Company due to the potential presence of mold. The voluntary recall affecting 2, 10, and 16 count packs of Ding Dongs with best buy dates ranging from August 30th through September 3rd, and with UPC numbers ending in 11061, 11092, and 01002. Consumers are advised not to consume the impacted Hostess Ding Dongs, to return the products to stores for a full refund or replacement. J.M. Smucker Company saying in a statement that it's committed to health and safety and that it apologizes for any inconvenience. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
If they're committed to health and safety, why would they ever make a ding dong? First of all, and secondly,
Exactly.
I can see people returning from my cold dead hands. Yeah, right.
Well, the
Someone
worst,
starts to take the ding dongs out of the house. No, not that.
there were two. There was. I was so conflicted with the report. On one hand,
Great.
it's health news. I mean, we don't want you eating potentially harmful
Right.
products.
But they're ding dongs.
But then on the other side, it also told you, in case you didn't know, they came in 2, 8, and 16 packs. Like, they make a 16
A 16 pack.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh!
Yeah, I really like ding dongs a lot, Mom. So, yeah, there you go. Hey, York County has reached a milestone of 50,000 acres of preserved farmland. Now, you see all these warehouses and stuff going up everywhere, and people are lamenting some of that. But agriculture, obviously, is a big part of York County's economy and cultural life. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture, according to its latest figures, estimates that more than 35% of the land in York County is dedicated to agriculture. So that's pretty good, I think. 243,980 of the county's total 583,850 acres used to raise crops, fruits, vegetables, and livestock. So 35% of that is there. The number of acres, though, has dwindled modestly in the past few years. The 2022 figures released by the agency's statistics service show that the number of acres dedicated to agriculture in the county has decreased by 3% since 2017. Notable, maybe not as bad as some other areas, But the county has been very active in preserving agricultural land in the face of mounting pressure from housing developments, warehouses, and now, check this out, data centers. Yeah. And recently marked a milestone.
AI.
Yeah. Recently marked a milestone preserving more than 50,000 acres of land for farming in perpetuity, a 35-year-long effort that is hailed as one of the most successful farmland preservation programs in the country. So there you go. Some good news there, Mark.
Well, I don't think this is good news, but we talked about sharks. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was Monday. Talked about sharks gathering in New England.
Yes.
They're having a party or something up there.
Well, this shark that we're going to talk about is actually off the coast of Central America, and there's something very unusual about this shark.
Ooh.
The scientists say two genetic conditions that are extremely rare combine to create the odd pigmentation. It's the first known sighting of an orange shark, discovered during a Costa Rican fishing trip. The researchers hauled the shark in, photographed it to document their find, and then released it. They say the pigmentation shouldn't affect its lifespan. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
I understand you've now called it the Trump shark. Is that right?
The orange
The
shark.
Trump shark?
Yes.
Orange. Yeah.
Orange.
Because his hair is very,
Yes.
Anyway, there was a joke. Well, yeah. Well, maybe I ought to get out of here. Anyway.
Is this thing on?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Jeez. By the way, Penn State football coming up this weekend. They're playing Nevada, University of Nevada, who was 3-10 last year. Penn State is a 45.5 point
Think about
favorite.
that. So
45.5. So anything under that, losers. That's what they're saying.
I wonder what the I don't know how they've described if you're betting using those betting apps.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a plus 100 or.
Well, who's putting money down on that? I mean, if you're
trying to play the odds, right?
I guess, but for Penn State, I mean, it's the opening day. Penn State's got like everybody back on offense, and defensively they got some really key people back. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to see what kind of team Penn State has. They're ranked number 2 or 3 in the country, depending on what poll you look at. But here's what it says. Expect Penn State's elite starters to do whatever they desire against a cross-country opponent coming off a dismal 3-10 season. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
I'm just looking at it doesn't have I don't see the designation. Anyway, what's coming up next hour?
Well, what's coming up next hour is, Jeff Coleman from Morning Light. And he's going to join us here on the Gary Sutton Show. We'll talk about demonstrations and symbolism versus reality and just getting it done. We'll tell you what that's all about when Jeff joins us here at 7:05 on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. But first news, it is 7 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on a Wednesday morning. It is the 27th of August, 2025, 7:05 here on the Gary Sutton Show. The main street of York, right now it is showing 50 degrees on Brooks Robinson Plaza. 50 degrees. Yes, I'm looking right here at it, right here at Wellspan Park. Brooks has got on a baseball heavy jacket today. The statue out here on the square. Yeah, it's a little cold, but it's going to get nicer. They tell me it's only going to get in the mid-70s today. So we're starting to move toward fall. Mark McKenzie here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show, and as always, yeah. So it is what it is. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting a little warmer today. But this show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, who is Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. You can find them at barley.com. Exactly right. Over 29 different disciplines, 130 plus lawyers to handle all the various areas, business law and things that affect you as a person and affects you as a business. They are here. And right here in York at 100 East Market Street in New York, you can give them a call at 717-846-8888. Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. And once you remember that you can check our show out on podcasts later on in the day by just going to WOYK on YouTube, and you'll be able to do that. This hour, by the way, this 7 o'clock hour, brought to you by YourMedicareSolutions.net. That's your-Medicare-Solutions.net. Becky and Keith Rill are the ones who are in charge of that company, and they are getting you ready for Medicare. They explain what Medicare is, how it works, your personal options, peace of mind, best plans for you, simple enrollment. You're Medicare experts. They really are. They're specialists, and they love to educate people. They're doing it with thousands of people around York County right now. You can schedule a consult with Becky or schedule a consult with Keith. Just go to your-Medicare-Solutions.net, and they'll help you find the best Medicare health insurance plan that meets your needs. They'll help you with Medicare Advantage plans, for example, Medicap supplement plans. I'll spit that out. Lots of consonants there. Prescription drugs and more. You have questions, they have answers. Give them a call today at 717-487-4382. That's Becky and Keith Rill at 717-487-4382, or email them at Rill, R-I-L-L, at your-Medicare-Solutions.net. They are the sponsors of our 7 o'clock hour right here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Wednesday morning. And we welcome in this morning Jeff Coleman from Morning Light. He's also principal at Churchill Strategies. Morning Light you can see on Channel 49 starting at 9 o'clock every weekday. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. Doing well, thank you.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that. And I had something that came up, and I wanted to ask you about this. I'm going to give you a couple quick facts so you'll have something to base this on. But apparently last Friday night, there was an incident here at a place called the Gift Horse Brewing Company, which is a little bar just up the street from where we're at. Along the street, they have a tent outside, and they've also got an inside part of the bar as well. And apparently, there were a number of people, a local veteran drag performer, and some friends who went into this bar and were apparently harassed by 5 other people who didn't like the fact that these people identified as, I guess, LGBTQ people or drag or whatever, and went over and harassed them verbally. Well, they left the place later, and these 5 people followed them out. And apparently 2 people that worked at the Gift Horse also kind of noticed what was happening, and they followed out to see what was going to happen. They went up the street a ways up near the Judicial Center, and one thing led to another, and they were a couple of them were choked. Eventually, these 2 guys came on the scene who helped to serve at the Gift Horse and helped to break it up until the police could get there. The police charged one of the LGBTQ people and one of the people who was there on the other side. that was the original charge. I understand now in this morning's paper that new charges are going to be put out there, and the original charges dropped, I think, against one of the LGBTQ people. Now, in response to that, what is happening now is they're going to have a demonstration at the gift horse come Friday night, and apparently what I see here, they are holding a demonstration in the city of York, August 29th. They will stand against any form of hate towards the LGBTQIA plus community. The family was attacked, and we will not stand for it. And then they're having sidewalks of solidarity Friday the 29th, 5 to 7, sponsored by creatives on King, chalking our district with love, strength, and pride, with all kinds of coloring on the sidewalks. Build a community, make art, enjoy snacks, continue to gather downtown at 8 p.m., the Royal Square District.
Yeah.
My question is, and again, with no disrespect to anybody at all, I'm more of the ilk that said, and they're going to have a little demonstration outside there, and it's supposed to be very peaceful, and so I suspect it will be, and I suspect there'll probably be a police presence there. But we've gotten to be such a symbolistic kind of society where we seem like everything is standing for a larger thing. And I saw one of the people, I met one of the people the other day, a very lovely person, and we were talking about this. It was involved in this incident, and one of the ones who was picked upon. And I said, couldn't it just be that there were 5 people who were maybe just being jerks against 4 people who they really had, they're petty, and it's not a wider range of people that really needs a full demonstration. And I didn't say it with the idea that the demonstration is wrong, and you don't have a right to do it, because you do. But my point is, what about if we just went into places and acted decent, and if we saw somebody being picked upon, we stepped over and helped them, or we stood up for them, or whatever? What are your thoughts on that? I hope I made myself clear.
I'd say there are probably mixed feelings on this. For one reason, historically, events in our history have been helpful to help understand a particular injustice or a particular kind of injustice. Going back to Emmett Till, this Saturday I'm traveling to Birmingham to interview some of the survivors of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in 1963.
The 4 little girls.
Right. And you go, every incident, every piece of violence has some implication. The narrative that you draw out of it, though, has to be a true narrative. It can't be a false narrative, meaning if the impression that you're trying to communicate is that bad things happen at bars often when people drink too much, and the worst when your inhibitions are down, the worst of humanity, sometimes comes out. We need to be more loving, more tender, more careful with each other. But the flip side of that is if you're trying to create an impression that York is a bigoted place or York is a place where people have deep hatreds, would that be an accurate reflection of the story you're trying to tell out of that protest? I'm not sure that it is. And in
fairness, I talked to this person the other day, Brady Pappas, a lovely person, and we had a nice conversation, and I said, well, I want you to know, I said that this might just be those 5 people there, and there are probably some people that don't like people for that, but, I said, for one, I said, we don't condone that kind of thing, and she appreciated that. We talked, and but, I made a point of saying, that's not the way things should be. You shouldn't be, no matter who you are, no matter what your difference is, no matter what you espouse, no matter your philosophical point of view, whatever, that shouldn't happen. So, I kind of felt like I did my part. I walked over and I initiated the discussion. I said, I think I saw you in the paper this morning.
Yeah,
you did. Yeah. And then we chatted for a little bit. And I said, I would love to have you on the show to talk about this sometimes. And well, I'll talk to my friends and maybe we can do that. But this idea that when we have an incident like this, and all of a sudden we widen the scope and it represents everybody. And I guess I kind of think that there's a more realistic way of doing this, which is walk inside. Because you put flags outside or you draw on the walk or whatever, does not mean someone who hates you is not going to still hate you. However, the point would be, even if you dislike someone, you don't have the right to go do something to them because they have a different point of view than yours or a different way of living than yours or a different look of yours. It doesn't affect you in the slightest.
Yeah. Yesterday, Gary, I talked to a pastor who grew up in Gaza. He's Palestinian. He's a Christian. Right. One of 1,000 Christians among 2 million Muslims.
Wow.
And he just listed to me a string of injustices. His church pianist was shot by an Israeli sniper. A member of his church was abducted by militants. 10 hours later, executed. On and on and on it goes like this. And you know what? He kept coming. He didn't organize protests. He didn't say, he's literally, as he describes it, caught between two fires. But he says, because I am a Christian, I am obligated to forgive immediately. And even though his heart may not feel any immediate love for the person that did these terrible things in all these incidents for years on end, that was his obligation. What diffuses the bomb in situations like this is when people have simple acts of humanity, walk across the street, have a cup of coffee. If you really want to change things, you don't try to leverage people's pain into a political protest and raise money off it or create a larger narrative. What you do is say, hey, can we talk before I protest? Maybe I want you to know my motives. I'm not saying protests are always bad, because they serve as sometimes a powerful tool to tell a story.
You're right. And when you kind of understand the whole protest and the whole group understands, there it is. But, where I would worry would be if someone wrote up this story and said, way to go. Way to go after those people. We need more of that. Nobody's talking like that. We automatically as a society say, that's the wrong thing to do. That's terrible. Yeah. We don't want to see somebody you get bullied or picked upon like that. When I've seen that kind of thing happen over the years, I've stepped into situations like that and said, wait a second, man, you can't treat that person that way.
Right.
So there's a decency that we ought to practice as a daily kind of habit. And we ought to be able to walk back in there. Now, how many people will stay away on Friday night because maybe we'll go to the gift horse because there's a demonstration there? That's a question. And yet they had two guys from that place come out and do the right thing. And I think this is meant to be a very peaceful kind of thing. I don't for a moment doubt that these people want to, bring attention. And yet at the same time, what are you bringing attention to? And to me, if you want to bring the attention to, how do we get people who maybe don't agree with someone's lifestyle to just at least tolerate, at least be in the same room, and at least be able to go about their business without bothering somebody else or without going after somebody else? That's what the story is here at the end of the day. And I think we need to stand up for people in those practical kind of situations as opposed to the more symbolic ones. Again, not taking away the right to do that, not criticizing it necessarily, just saying it's a different way of looking at it.
Let me give you a quick example, very fast. So when I was, I went to Liberty University, and when LGBTQ protesters really descended on the campus of Liberty, Liberty's response was not to yell back. They invited them to dinner. They took them water, refreshments, said, just do it peacefully. We love you. We care about you. And I go, well, what an opportunity this moment is in York for people who do not agree with that lifestyle to maybe stand across the street, and instead of doing a counter protest, instead of ignoring, instead of honking horns or flipping the bird, which I'm sure nobody of the respectable York Christian community would ever do, but I'm saying you have an opportunity to go down there and just love people. You don't have to put on a T-shirt, but it's almost an invitation for somebody to do the opposite of what is expected. And if that is what emerges out of the protest in the next few days, I think that would be extraordinary.
I hope people will take that opportunity, because I think that really is what this is about at the end of the day. Hey, what's coming up on Morning Light this morning?
Well, interesting story. We've been going through the implications of how AI is transforming our life, and saying, we need to ask some questions here. Here's one area: sermons, AI tools, and pastors and priests now make it a whole lot easier to prepare your sermon Sunday morning. What kinds of helps should a pastor be able to access from AI, and where should that line be drawn? Should there be a disclaimer at the end in the little church bulletin to say, hey, this sermon was prepared by AI? I didn't really pray about this for 2 days. Or Am I thinking about that too simplistically? So the panel, I hope, is well equipped to talk about
Wow.
that today.
I'm glad I'm not on that. I'm glad I'm not on that panel today. That's all I can say. I've been on a few of the panels. That would be a tough one. But if your sermon starts out, to whom it may concern, you might be a little bit worried about how from the heart that might be. But that is a great
thank you
topic.
for your attention to this matter.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Your call is very important to us. One of the biggest lies in the world. But it really is a great question. And with AI, all these things are changing now. So it really is fascinating. Morning Light is the name of the show. It's on Channel 49 right here in our local area. You can also access it by going to, is it www.morninglight.com? Am I right on that?
Morninglightlive.com.
Morninglightlive.com. Check it out. Great show. Deborah Pinkerton and Jeff Coleman, the hosts, and they just do a fantastic job. 9 to 10 weekdays. And Jeff, always appreciates your insights and thoughts about situations happening here in York today, as it turns out, and happening actually Friday night coming up. So thank you so much, my friend. Have a great rest of your week. Okay?
Glad to talk about it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Jeff Coleman here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Just an interesting talk, and not criticizing anybody so much as just analyzing the situation and seeing what's the very best things we could do to make for a better community. It's 7:20 here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We'll be back right after this.
Fox Sports Update.
Just call them the Comeback Kids.
Bases loaded, nobody out. Tie game, last of the ninth. 2-0 to Nimmo. And Brandon slashes it, base hit, and the Mets win the ball game. 4 straight hits against the run in the bottom of the ninth.
The New York Mets over the Phillies 6-5 on SNY after the Mets blew a 5-2 lead. The Amazons lead the Reds by 3.5 games for the final wild card spot in the National League. The Mets have won 9 straight games at home against their rivals from the city of brotherly love. Speaking of the Reds, they fall to Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers 6-3 at Chavez Ravine. Kershaw ends the month of August with a record of 5-0. New York's other team, the Yankees, they were 5-1 winners over the Washington Nationals. Giancarlo Stanton put on a show, flexing his muscles. He just missed a grand slam, so he settled for a 3-run double. Then he launched a 2-run homer to account for all 5 New York runs. Meanwhile, the Red Sox cruised over the Orioles 5-0. The Brewers with the best record in baseball, well, very good reason for that. They scored their 10th walk-off win of the season, 9-8 over the Diamondbacks. Isaac Collins with a game-winning sac fly for the Brew Crew. The AL leading Tigers, they fall in 10 innings to the lowly Athletics 7-6. Other winners, Braves, Guardians, Twins, Royals, Pirates, Rangers, Rockies, Padres, and Giants. Coco Gauff survived at the U.S. Open, but she struggled again with her serve. 10 more double faults for Coco. From the WNBA, Alyssa Thomas led the Phoenix Mercury over the Sparks 92-84. Her single-season record, 7th triple-double of the season. She broke the record previously held by, you guessed it, Alyssa Thomas. Meanwhile, the Fever beat the Storm. And you can download the Fox Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I'm Frank Lanza.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
By the way, Alyssa Thomas from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, as they talked about the WNBA right there. Hey, I want to tell you something about something. You know, you look around right now, school just started. Kids are going to college. Kids are going back to school. We got sports going on. Kids are on social media. And you know what comes up a lot of times? Pressure. And you know what else comes up a lot of times? Bullying, things that are said about each other. And, you know, kids are kids. They're still growing up. They're still handling responsibility. But when those kind of things come, are we really equipped to handle it? And are there serious problems behind that could maybe be worse in terms of how we handle it? And I'm talking a little bit about depression. You know, we think about depression, we normally think about adults. But think about kids. Think about adolescents and all of what they go through. And maybe it's time to consider, if they've been diagnosed with depression, what can be done about it. Did you know that one of the ways that it's being dealt with right now is something called NeuroStar? A NeuroStar is a machine that's being used by the York TMS Clinic right here at 1806 North George Street, right here in York. And it's being used with some very, very good results. You know, maybe your kids go to a psychiatrist, or maybe they have had medicine, that kind of thing. And maybe they're not just kind of coming around to it the way you'd like them to. Maybe another consideration would be this idea of NeuroStar. If you have a NeuroStar session, it's a session that lasts as little as 19 minutes per day. And basically what this is, it is a transcranial magnetic stimulation. It goes right to the source of depression, which is your brain. It's a non-invasive, non-drug treatment that uses focused magnetic pulses to wake up those areas and help your brain work the way it should in an emotional way. And they have these sessions available right now at York TMS Clinic. Now, I'm not saying go get a session right away. I am saying go find out about it. Get the information that you need. You can go to yorktmsclinic.com and find out more about what NeuroStar is all about. Or you could stop on by there at 1806 North George Street right here in York and find out about it yourself. Give them a call. Make an appointment. 717-699-7361. That's 717-699-7361. Dr. Gracia Etienne, a lot of you know him from orthopedic surgery. He did both my knees at one point in time, is now working in this area, and they are doing a very, very good job. So if you want to deal with depression for your kids, if you want a place to help, a place to consider, a place to get information and knowledge about, why don't you go to York TMS Clinic. Check them out at yorktmsclinic.com or give them a call today at 717-699-7361. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. Get information about it. It might be something that can help. WOYK News Time is 7:29 here on a Wednesday morning. It is the 27th of, what month is it? August. Yeah, I'm just stopping here and thinking it's going by so fast. 27th of August, 2025. And coming up next this morning, we're looking forward to bringing you more news. And I'm trying to get to my page right here because what's happening is the son of a gun keeps changing. My computer's changing.
Oh, no.
What's going on here? Yeah, anyway, we're going to have Tim Barker, our DA of York County, as we talk about separation of powers, executive power. When is too much executive power? Too much executive power. We're going to get into some of that this morning with Tim Barker, the DA of York County, here next. And then we'll meet John Politzopoulos from Yanni's and talk to him a little bit about what's going on over there and much more. Straight ahead here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7:30. is this group? I'm not sure.
I don't know we've ever used this as a bumper. This is Nirvana.
Yeah, load up on guns, they're saying. And
their classic Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Did they ever put out a Christmas album? I don't remember.
I don't think so, but you can ask D.A. Tim Barker.
Well, I was playing golf the other day in Canaan Valley. We can put the DA on right now with us guys.
Sure.
Good morning, Tim. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I was playing golf down in Canaan Valley the other day in West Virginia. Beautiful area, by the way. Great state park and just a gorgeous golf course down there. I made the mistake of trying to play it at 7,000 yards, which was not. As you get older, the yards get longer. But anyway, so we're playing, and it was really a slow round of golf. It went like 5 hours, and we're standing waiting. Well, there's this group that comes up behind us, and they're playing music like Nirvana. And the one guy I'm standing there with is more like kind of a country western guy, and he's standing going, "That's not music," and that's but it sounds like what we say when we're getting too old. Anyway, so this guy comes on, he has like Black Sabbath on his next, like we waited on 16, so he has on Nirvana. The next hole 17T, and we're getting ready to tee off, and this guy's behind us. They're playing like Black Sabbath. So and it's really loud, and I hate music on a golf course. That's become like the new thing. I hate it. But I don't really say much about it, and I normally try to play through it, and I normally use it as a test for myself, my discipline. But I turned around after I teed off, and I walked back and said, "Is that their Christmas album?" And the girl looks at me, and she kind of got what I was saying. She turned it down. It was the best I could do for the moment. It was as witty as a talk show host can get when you're focused on your golf game. But anyway, there you go. But hey, good morning, Tim. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. So somebody's cranking up grunge on a golf course. That's that's now back in the early '90s. That was the stuff because you're doing what 1992 today.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
Well, the high point of music in central Pennsylvania. We were the center of the universe when U2 went and did the rehearsals at Hershey Stadium. Yeah. I remember being at the show that they did where the ticket prices were $15 a ticket.
Wow.
That's all it cost to go to that concert on their rehearsals. But, we were the center of the music universe that year.
Were you? Do you go to a lot of concerts during that time? Were you kind of a concert, groupie kind of guy?
Oh yeah.
Were you? Okay.
Yeah. I've gone to a lot of concerts from way back when. Actually, the last concert I was supposed to go to was just last week. The Who are on their "The Song Is Over" tour, and unfortunately got postponed because one of the members was sick. So
getting a little older now.
Yeah, they're in their 80s, so this is the last hurrah. So, but I've gone to see them many times.
I got to tell you a quick story about that. You'll love it. So I'm in Scotland 2 years ago, and we're in the middle of downtown Edinburgh, right? And we go to Richard Branson's what's the hotel there, the Virgin Hotel.
Oh,
right in the middle of town. And it's on what they call the Magic Mile or whatever it is. But it leads up to Edinburgh Castle, which is the old castle, the very top of the town. This town sits really high. And so we go up to Edinburgh Castle to visit. Well, what they built is like an 8,000-person stadium outside the entrance to Edinburgh Castle.
Wow.
And then they put these chairs on the inside on where the street is, and they end up getting 7 to 8 to 9 to 10,000 people in there for this concert. Well, that night, The Who is playing. And so, The Who is playing. So we're walking through this trying to get up the castle, and they said, well, usually groups practice in the afternoon, but The Who doesn't practice because, they've been around so long, they know all their stuff.
Yeah.
So that night, Debbie and I crawl into our bed in the Branson Hotel there, and we're listening to The Who in concert like they're in our room. They're just up the street like a half of two blocks, and they're playing this concert. So we're listening to The Who as we go to bed at Edinburgh Castle. So it was kind of cool. But anyway.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So when you brought up The Who, it brought up a great story there. But anyway, I wanted to ask you this morning, we're watching President Trump right now. You can't go through a day where he's not expressing some order, an executive order, pushing the idea. Yesterday it was capital punishment if you commit a capital crime in the capital city of Washington, D.C. Now, whether or not he could ever do that, again, remains to be seen. But the point is, our founding fathers were pretty good coming up with this idea of separation of powers and checks and balances and all that. When does stretching the outer limits of the executive branch, or any branch for that matter, become too much for us, where you feel like you're being encroached upon, where every day they're into every little aspect of that, and they're pushing what seems to be beyond the rules our founding fathers set up? Where do you stand on that? I know you've studied law, you've studied history. What are your thoughts about that?
So this topic, while on the one hand being a constitutional law nerd like myself, it's something that you can really get wonky on, but it really is the foundation of our whole governmental system. And so the separation of powers aspect, the perfect balance struck between legislative, executive, and judiciary, it is the foundation of everything we do, be it in county government, state government,
right,
and of course in federal government. And a lot of times each branch has, where this really comes from, in my opinion, we all focus on the express powers that are outlined in the Constitution.
Right.
Most of the issues wind up coming about, though, because there are implied powers.
Exactly.
And what has happened over the years is, hey, in order to carry out this express power, we need to go ahead and utilize this implied power. So legislatively, they've done that, especially towards laws that regulate traditional state actions. They've done that through expanding, like, necessary and proper clause,
right,
the tax clause with the Affordable Care Act, like different commerce clause for Civil Rights Act, and an executive power that has usually come off of the express powers, such as like commander-in-chief, things of that nature. But that's where we get a lot of executive orders.
Well, and what's interesting on those legislative powers, by the way, Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 1 to, I believe, 17, they were the enumerated powers. They were specifically laid out.
Correct.
Here's what you get. But number 18 was interesting. The implied powers, loosely called the elastic clause from time to time, said to carry out the foregoing powers, which kind of talks about the times we live in, right?
Yeah, and this really, the whole concept of implied powers really got expanded further when you go ahead then and have what is legislative delegation. We live in, we've talked before about, we live in the era of regulation of agencies, expansion of executive agencies, and that leads to an expansion of executive power, and there are delegated duties that the legislator gives over then to the executive branch, which leads then even more so into, well, how much leverage and latitude does the executive branch have? Now, this type of stuff has been going on for forever. I mean, McCulloch v. Maryland, let's go back to the 1800s, and actually the leading case on executive power really came out from Harry Truman with Youngstown Sheet and Tube, where that's where we got the definition of when executive power is at its highest and at its lowest, and all of those aspects. Now, one of the very interesting things about some of the aspects over the past bunch of years, because this isn't new with just this year with President Trump.
Sure.
A lot of it goes to, in the executive branch, what can we do with money? Now, the legislature has traditionally, like, for instance, remember the speed limits. How did we go get the speed limits? How did we get a .08 BAC? Regulation of allocation of highway funds. Well, one of the things about these orders that are occurring, like part of yesterday was the cashless bail order.
Yes.
Well, there's no ability to regulate the state that way, but there is the ability to say, if you go ahead and are a cashless bail jurisdiction, we're going to go ahead and deprive you of grants. We're not going to give you DOJ grants. And let me tell you, those grants are really important to the functions of state and local government. So that's where they're looking at what can we do with the power of the purse string. Now, the judiciary also, the whole concept of judicial review, that's an implied power that was created in Marbury v. Madison.
Right.
And every single branch winds up going through hey, did they overstep and overreach? And the area that, just as a quick example, probably showed it greatest was during COVID. And separating out political and policy discussions, the case where it was Wolf versus Scarnetti, That single case involved in it accusations of legislative overreach, accusations of unconstitutional legislative vetoes by the governor. It had in accusations of gubernatorial overreach, of not wanting to go ahead and follow legislative dictates, and of overreach of policy, and judicial overreach in terms of the majority opinion, going ahead and utilizing a clause to really put in an extra presentment of, hey, you've got to have the governor sign off on this like it's legislation, into the majority opinion. And everybody basically was all looking at each other saying there's overreach, overreach, overreach by all three branches. And so, the net effect of that then is, what do we do? Now, in that circumstance, eventually we passed constitutional amendments to our state constitution to make things clear. But this is the kind of thing that always, it's occurred for forever, and it's about each branch figuring out what is the authority and the limit of these implied or delegated powers that I've been given.
Yeah, and we have about a minute left. So the question then becomes, do you just determine the balance in the times in which you live by, court cases, which we're getting a lot of right now, or, for example, a lot of people are saying, well, the legislative branch has kind of become, missing in action, and the executive branch is out there every day. Is it just in the times in which you live that you determine the balance? Is that the beauty of separation of powers, or is it also maybe the bane of separation of powers? Final thoughts on that this morning.
So it's partially the times that you're in, because part of the times that you're in allowed for latitude and breathing room for what is the scope of implied power. But the constitutional precept of restraint and of having this separation is critical. So from the very beginning, the framers knew that there could be changes in societal circumstances that required implied ability to be able to carry stuff out. And they did allow for legislative delegation to occur to an executive branch. That's something constitutionally that is allowed for certain ways to carry things on the day-to-day. But there is this hallmark that we must have restraint and respect for the role of each branch.
Boy, I'll tell you
and that's something that will continue to be safeguarded, and it is the hallmark of our Constitution. It really is.
I love what you said at the end there, because I think that's where we're missing it right now a little bit. Restraint and respect. Thank you very much. That would help to keep that balance that we're looking for, I think. And that a lot of us are a little uncomfortable with as we watch how our government's operating right now. Tim, always great to have you on. We not only get the history, we not only get the law, we get musical reviews as well. And where else can you get all that from your district attorney at one shot, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks so much, Gary.
We'll catch you next Wednesday morning, same time, same place. What do you say?
Yep, sounds great to me.
See you then. And God only knows what Mark will be playing by then, but I'm sure we'll get a pretty good analysis of it. Thanks, Tim. Take care.
Yep, sure thing. You too.
Tim Barker, our district attorney of York County, here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. This hour being brought to you by Your Medicare Solutions. Check them out at your-medicare-solutions.net. And Keith and Becky Real are ready to help you today, answer all the questions about Medicare and give you some peace of mind. Isn't that what you want? Yeah, if you're like me, and I'm Medicare, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about all of it, but they tell me the best plans, simple enrollment, how you take care of that, things like Medicare Advantage, things like your Medigap stuff, your plans, supplement plans, things about prescription drugs. They got all the answers. Why don't you check them out today? Give them a call at 717-487-4382 or email them at RILL, R-I-L-L, Keith and Becky Rill, at your-medicare-solutions.net. I'm telling you what, nobody goes after the answers like these people do. Your-medicare-solutions.net. WOYK News Time, 748.
Nobody likes a cracked windshield.
While Sir Francis was off to try for yet another record, at this party we met a number of people who feature in the Book of Records. The drink was appropriate to the occasion. The Guinness Records book is a fascinating volume. It includes every official record you can think of, from piano smashing to pole squatting, egg throwing to go-go dancing. That's Mrs. Odette Hallows, Britain's most decorated war heroine. Among sailors and explorers there were Sir Alec Rose, Wally Herbert, and Robin Knox Johnson.
So this is a newsreel from the year 1955.
The Guinness
and yes,
Book of Records.
That it was on this date in 1955. It was first published, and I was looking up the latest records to be allowed, and I'm sure it's the kind of stuff that you would
riveting.
Well, that you would not expect. I mean, I'm sure that's not what they were thinking about. At this time last year, but here is Tom Dalton of the UK crawled 100 meters on his hands and knees to set the current Guinness World Record of 39.7 seconds for fastest crawling male.
Or dumbest things I've ever done when I'm drunk. Yeah, that could also be, for the crawling male. I'm just saying.
It's just crawling male.
Yes. There was a guy here in New York at Alberto's Pizza. And he was the son of Alberto. And he, I think, still holds the record for the most onions cut in a minute.
Yeah.
And he's in the book.
No
He's in
kidding.
the book. Yeah.
The pride of Maryland, Kimberly Winter.
Yes.
Belted out a belch. It was the loudest belch, the Guinness World Record. How loud was it in decibels?
I don't know.
107.
And it was a girl.
107.
And still looking for her husband.
Unbelievable.
Still looking for a husband. Thank you very much. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show. Guinness Book of World Records, yes.
On this date.
She's not a girl you wanted to date a whole lot.
No.
Yeah, especially you want to go have dinner? Wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show. 7:54, we bring in John Politsapoulos. He might have the woman who would do that at his place, but I'm sure he wouldn't like it too much. At Yanni's at 310 Town Center Drive in the West Manchester Town Center. Or if you want to go over to 2815 Concord Lane, right over here in York, over where Best Shopping Center is, you would find reasons to be satisfied because Yanni's Gyros, or Yanni's Eros, if you'd like that, is right there. Good morning, John. How you doing?
Good morning. Very well. And yourself?
Good. We just heard about the woman with the greatest belch. I'm not sure I'd want to hear that, but I'll tell you what, you've got the loudest belch, by the way. We want to correct that, but you've got reasons to be very satisfied at Yanni's, right? With all the great things you have. The best gyros or gyros in town. I am telling people that everywhere they go. I'm sure you're hearing that everywhere you go, right?
Yes, I am, and I appreciate that a lot.
And if you want to get a gyro that is going to satisfy you for a while, you can't go wrong with the Hercules gyro, right?
That's right.
Tell people a little bit about that.
So it's packed full of our combination beef, lamb, shaved right off the spit with our fresh cut French fries, lettuce, tomato, onions, and our homemade tzatziki sauce on a grilled pita bread.
Now, people hear about you all the time on our show, but people can also read about you on Facebook. There's all kinds of great reviews. People are talking about the effect you've had on Mediterranean dining here in York. You've now got the brand new place out at 2815, right there on the east side of town, out at the Best Buy shopping center. So you got it going on everywhere right now, right?
I'm trying.
You're trying. Do you get any sleep at all? Because you've got, what, like 4 locations, plus you're at Hershey Park. Now, I guess that's winding down with kids going back to school, right?
It's starting to wind down a little bit, but we will be open for the dark nights every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Now, also, we got Labor Day coming up, and your hours normally are 11 to 9 every day of the week. How about Labor Day? What's going to be going on that day?
The same hours, 11 to 9 at both York locations and our Harrisburg location.
You're a light beacon out there for us who are looking to find some place great to eat. John, is there any one thing that you're most proud of with Yanni's? And people are coming to me all the time saying, I went to Yanni's the other day. It's unbelievable. But is there something that we have not talked about? You say, gosh darn it, there's something that I'd really like to be known for. What would you like to really be known for? What is something you're really proud of out at Yanni's?
Well, Gary, it's not just about the food. It's about the camaraderie with the community.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes out has just been amazing, and I'm hoping to just leave a lasting impression, not just with the food, but with the service and just the family atmosphere that we give everyone.
Well, I'm in there every week. Your price per person goes between $10 and $20, and I'll tell you what, you can find a great meal. I swear to heavens, when I get the fresh cut fries, or if I get a salad, as I'm eating them, I swear they're growing. They're not going down, they're growing. I end up taking a lot of stuff home with me. But it's really healthy eating out there too, isn't it, John?
Yes, it is. Everything is fresh cut, homemade, just like you would your grandma's house.
Now, where can people go to find out more about your menu, more about your locations, the brand new location at 2815 Concord Road right here in New York? Tell people where they can go and maybe some of the phone numbers they could use.
You can go right on yannisheroes.com, and it lists all the different restaurants, all our different phone numbers. You can even order right there through the website for pickup or delivery with Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and you can even do for pickup.
Ladies and gentlemen, yannisgyros.com. That's YANNISGYROS.com. Go in there. You'll find everything you need to know about Yanni's. Seasoned pork, chicken skewers, and souvlaki that I brag about all the time. Or they've got great desserts there that John's mother makes, Maria, and of course then the tzatziki sauce, the pita points, the hamburgers are unbelievable. It's all happening at Yanni's, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And just tell him Gary Sutton proudly sent you. Yanni, John, it is a pleasure and an honor to be associated with you. I'll tell you, you got some of the greatest food I've ever had.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure for us as well. Thank you. We appreciate it.
John, take care and have a great rest of your week. And get on out there to Yanni's, 11 to 9 every single day, and they are ready to host you to some great Mediterranean food. There you go. Ryan Fox is just around the corner with Houston Fox Financial Advisory Services, and Ryan keeps his eye on the markets and what's happening in the economy with your money better than anybody I know. He's going to join us here next to give us the latest updates on what is happening. And I do want to remind you this hour has been brought to you by Your Medicare Solutions. That's exactly right, your-medicare-solutions.com. Call Keith and Becky Rill today. They are ready to set up an appointment to help you with all the questions you have at 717-487-4382 or go to email rill@your-medicare-solutions.net. Ryan Fox, straight ahead, right here on The Gary Sutton Show on a Wednesday morning on WOYK.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the 8 o'clock hour of the Gary Sutton Show here on a Wednesday morning, the 27th of August, 2025, where it is now a balmy 52 degrees outside. I'll tell you what, I can feel it. I just walked out on Brooks Robinson Plaza for a moment. Brooks said, "Hey, can someone turn the heat up?" I said, really? I'm sorry. What are we doing here? And but anyway, this show being brought to you by our presenting sponsor, who is Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. I tell you what, I talk about them all the time, but I'm so impressed with the lawyers. We met a new one yesterday. They do have innovative legal solutions for your business. And the reason being, they have 130 plus attorneys who tackle 29 different disciplines of the law, areas of the law that might come across. And so many. Yesterday we were talking about realty and how to zone areas and all that kind of thing. Well, they have experts. It's like a one-stop shop for experts right here in York. They have the 100 East Market location, and they've got some great experts. I've met a lot of them that work here at the York bar of the Barley Snyder law firm. And I'll tell you what, these people are fantastic. And I'll tell you what else is interesting about them. They also are big in the community. One of the things that Barley Snyder pushes is be big in the community as well. Be out there and be involved, whether it's coaching kids baseball or whether it's being out there on boards at various organizations. I was talking to Paul Minnick the other week, who's on the Wellspan board. He's a guy who used to work there as a custodian type person when he first started. So he knows a little something about that. These people have worked their way up. So it's not just a matter of being lawyers today. It's what they did before and what they're doing now in the community. And I think that speaks well of them. You can check them out at barley.com or here in York, give them a call at 717-846-8888 at 100 East Market Street. They're open 9 to 5 every weekday. And they are waiting to help you right now. Please use my name proudly because we are partners together in this business. This hour, by the way, the 8 o'clock hour being brought to you by TES, Total Exterminating Services, trusted, local, family-owned. Ladies and gentlemen, Steven Shetter has over 50 years of experience. I'll tell you what, he is my exterminator when it comes to pests, and I would suggest highly you make them yours. They serve right here in the York, Lancaster, and Hanover area, and they are local faces in the community. They are accountable. They've got some great programs. Give them a call today at 717-951-3868. That's 717-951-3868, or go to Steven.Shetter, SHETTER, at testpest.com. That's testpest.com. Total Exterminating Services, TES, trusted, local, family-owned. We'll be talking with Steve later on in the hour. But right now, we want to talk to Ryan Fox, Houston Fox Financial Advisory Services, about what the heck is happening in the markets right now. And he joins us this morning here on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Gary. I'm good. How are you doing this morning?
Doing very well, and good to have you aboard. I saw the president fired one of the members of the Fed board the other day, Lisa Cook. She's now suing him back, saying, well, you can't do that. But she's one of the people who was kind of on the board about doing interest rates. And we're watching interest rates right now and what Jay Powell had to say about that with the Fed and all that stuff. Make some sense out of some of this for us this morning, will you, please?
Yeah, well, that one with the firing of Lisa Cook's going to be that may end up in the Supreme Court.
I think you're right.
Holy smokes, that's it comes down to his view and with her and maybe some others. They're looking into some of these mortgage things about primary residence. Can you have more than one on an application? And
right.
That's kind of a gray area because if you and I did it, that might not fly so well. So we'll see how that plays out. But we've got 33% of the year remaining, so we got about 8 months down as we close out August. Last week, markets were up. S&P up a little, still up 11% year to date. The Dow jumped 2% last week, is now up about 8% for the year. NASDAQ was down less than 0.5%, but is up 11%. What we saw last week were small stocks, small U.S. stocks called small cap stocks, rallied about 3% and are up now about 6% for the year, too. So markets are trying to evaluate what Jay Powell said last week. They closed out the Jackson Hole, Wyoming meeting, and he signaled that the central bank, the Fed, is likely to resume interest rate cuts next month. So markets overcame some early weakness last week. Some retail earnings came out last week that weren't so good, but bounced back strong on Friday. And small caps kind of led the charge. So, what Powell said, I think his quote was, with policy in restrictive territory, the baseline outlook and shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting our policy stance. And that interpretation was, hey, he's going to start cutting rates.
Right.
Markets jumped pretty hard. So, that led us through last week, and he was less hawkish, meaning a little bit more interested in potentially starting to cut rates. And then you have the efforts of the presidential administration to kind of put some new people on the Fed board. We will have a new Fed chair next year. So it looks like next year definitely the pattern should be down for rates. But we'll see. There's a lot of economic data that comes out. We got some information yesterday and the day before about manufacturing in the United States. It's really doing well. We're seeing new home starts pick up, and we're seeing the supply of existing homes sit for a little longer, which means that's a little bit of downward pressure on housing prices. And if we see mortgage rates come down a little bit, that's really bullish for the economy, too. Walmart reported earnings, and that was a big deal. They reported solid earnings, and they raised their earnings forecast, saying that, this impact of tariffs has been very gradual. And I've seen this morning a big headline that Kohl's, the department store, shares are jumping about 20% right now in the pre-market because they guided higher for the year, and they have some turnaround in their stores with sales, too. So, a lot of the economic news has been good. We'll see where it takes us. There's some massive technology earnings coming out after the bell today. One of the stocks makes up nearly 8% of the S&P 500 right now. So we'll see more headlines coming through. Durable goods orders came out Monday. They were pretty good. And so overall, consumers are spending money, and that's the whole goal for the Fed, stable employment, modest inflation, and right now we're kind of in that range of, hey, economy's handling things pretty well.
Ryan, I wanted to come back to something you mentioned on homes and purchases.
Yeah.
I saw an article, and I think it was just yesterday, if memory serves. No, it was actually the 23rd. Well, it says more than 15% of home purchases fell through last month. That was according to Redfin. And they say in total, roughly 58,000 U.S. home purchase agreements were canceled this past year. Cancellations were most common in Texas and Florida. And I wonder if you had any thoughts on that. They're talking about, record prices, elevated mortgage rates, economic uncertainty lead more buyers to walk away right now. But from what you were saying, it looks like that might gradually be changing a little bit. Talk about that, if you would, for a moment.
Yeah, and I didn't read what you read, but if I had to guess, people go to buy a home, and especially if they need a mortgage, the banks are doing appraisals. And if a house, let's say a house goes to sell for $400,000, appraises for $380,000, well, now you have a dilemma for the buyer. Do they walk away? Do they have to put more cash into the deal?
Right.
So I'll bet you some of these really, really hot markets where, houses are not even really hitting the system. They're being sold, before even hit the system. If the appraisal's not coming in, a lot of buyers may not have the extra cash to put more money down. They may walk away from the deal. So I'll bet you we're starting to see that. The other part of that might be underwriting standards. And this kind of goes back to what Trump's saying about the Fed lady, that if, you are not a primary residence, if it's a secondary residence, the underwriting standards are a little tougher and the interest rate's a little higher. They want to see more cash put into the deal because if you have a vacation home and you decide, hey, it's not worth it, you're more likely to walk away from that and let it go into foreclosure than you would be your primary residence, too. So the housing market's a huge barometer for the economy because when we buy a house, there are a lot of other expenses that go into it, from curtains and drapes to furniture.
Well, they said that the regional trend, where you're seeing that in the Sun Belt in Texas and Florida, they say it's a red-hot pandemic era. Price growth has cooled, which is what you alluded to, giving buyers more leverage. So part of the shift is because Florida and Texas, where a lot of people have been going, by the way, over the last few years, a lot of it because of the sun, a lot of it because lower taxes, have been building more homes than anywhere else in the country, boosting inventory. And so obviously, if it slows down a little bit, they're going to be left with the most inventory in their hands, and that's, I think, what it's talking about right there. But you give us a tip every week. What tip do you have for us this week, Ryan?
Yeah, this one came up 2 days ago. I was talking to a client. They said, "Hey, we're looking at some options to help save it was for their grandchildren's college fund." So the first thing we always need to remember when we think about saving for either kids or grandkids' college is we can always help take out a loan for college, but we can't take out a loan for our retirement. So what I mean by that is we always have to fund our retirement first, college second. And what it means down the road is if we do build up a nest egg, we can always help kids, grandkids pay back those loans. But if we don't have that nest egg, we have to continue to work. So one of the strategies I really like is called a 529 college savings plan. And there are a variety of 529 plans, how they're structured. And what I told this client, what I'll tell listeners, my wife and I use a 529 for our own boys that we invest in these target date funds. And you get a Pennsylvania tax deduction up front, which is helpful. It's not a lot, but it's helpful. The money grows tax deferred, and if it's used for educational expenses, which is pretty broad, the money comes out tax free. And something that came up was the question of, well, what if they don't need the money? Well, you can transfer the funds to a new beneficiary. So if my son number one doesn't need all the money, son number two can absorb those funds and use them. But a couple of years ago, the rules changed where now, as long as that account meets certain rules, portions of it can be converted to Roth IRAs for that beneficiary down the road, too. So it's a really neat plan for people looking into, how to help save for those future expenses. But the 529 is something that's really worth kicking the tires on, and I'm happy to help people with that. We don't offer those directly, but I'll show them exactly how I did it.
Well, you are Financial Advisory Services, LLC, Houston Fox, and you do business a little different way with people. Tell people about that and where they might contact you if they're looking for someone to help them through some of these rocky financial times that we're in.
Sure. Yeah, we're Houston Fox Financial Advisory Services. I'm Ryan Fox, my business partner, Sean Houston. 398-2040 catches me right here at the office. We are fee-only fiduciaries, which means we don't sell products. Our only compensation comes from our clients. We put it in writing. But we're happy to answer any questions people have along their financial journey. If they want to call and kick the tires, we're happy to talk about that. But we offer investment management services on a fee-only fiduciary basis along with financial planning. HoustonFox.com is the website.
And you can find Ryan at HoustonFox.com or give him a call at 717-398-2040, and he'll talk to you about your situation, and maybe he'll decide, you're doing pretty well. You don't really need me, or maybe you do need him. I'll tell you what, I needed him about 10 years ago. He has been my financial advisor ever since, and I have been very, very happy about that association. So check out Ryan today, 717-398-2040. Go to Ryan at HoustonFox.com. You can check out the whole business there at HoustonFox.com. Ryan, great stuff this morning. Thank you so very much, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, sounds great, Gary. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Ryan Fox, give him a call today, 717-398-2040, and tell him Gary Sutton proudly sent you. I'm also a client there. WOYK News Time is 8:18, and we check in with Steve Shetter coming up next here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Swings and drives it deep to left field, down at the wall, it is gone! Jalen Miller unloads a 2-run homer to left out toward the Revs bullpen. And on Miller's 17th of the year, the Revs jump in front 2-0 here in the third inning. 1-0. Swing and a line drive base hit to left. Down the line it goes. Fontana around third to score. And Lewis digging for second. He pulls in, standing ahead of the throw. Another rocket. RBI double from Brandon Lewis, and we're tied 3-3 here in the fourth. The 1-1 change up, line drive to center, and coming in is McNeely, makes a diving play, and he tumbles over with it. An outstanding play in center, straight away, coming straight in. One down. Pitch. Oh, back to the screen. Here comes a Rojo. Throw to the plate. He dives. He is out at home plate. Are you kidding me? His hand was in before the tag, and Warren Nicholson absolutely blew it. And Rick Forney comes racing in to usher a Rojo away. They can't afford to lose a player. A game-changing call at the plate, and I cannot believe that. We had a straight-on look from the booth here, and a Rojo's hand was in, and this game is still tied.
And that would have made it 4-3 Revs at that point in the game, but instead it was still 3-3. And then in the eighth inning, bottom of the eighth inning, Long Island come up, got 2 runs and won 5-3. The Revs now 6 games back. They have 5 more games. I don't know who the genius was that put this schedule together. 5 more games in Long Island straight. I've never heard of that. You don't even have a World Series where you have 6 or 7 straight games at one place. They have 6 games in Long Island, which is in second place, and then they come back home and they go to Lancaster for 3 more games on the road. But those are the 2 teams that are ahead of them, so if you want to make some hay right now in the second half, and you're the Revs, win those games. Okay, lost a heartbreaker last night, but a chance to get back at it tonight. 6:15 airtime right here on WOYK. Darryl will bring all the action to you. But right now I want to talk with Steve Shetter of TES, Total Exterminating Services. You can find them at TES.com. You give them a call and schedule a free evaluation, 717-951-3868. That's 717-951-3868, or go to Stephen.Shetter at testpest.com. They are my pest service. You might want to think about making them yours because they took care of my ant problem. I haven't seen hide nor hair of an ant since that time. They got the message. And when Steve's in town, the pests get down. Hey, good morning, Steve. How you doing?
That's quite an introduction. I'm doing well. Thank you, Gary.
Well, 50 years of experience, man. I got to kowtow to you because you know what you're talking about when you come out and take care of pests. And they say the pests hate you, but the people like you. And I am one of those people who like you just because you're a good guy and all that. But still, serving Lancaster, Harrisburg, Lancaster, Hanover, New York, and you are a face of the community that people have come to know, and more people are coming to know as they hear about you. You're my pest guy, and I'm hoping people make them yours. But you got to ask the question, did we find the rat yet? Every week it's the same one. You put that, I'm telling you what, you want to put out a video, a must-see video. You sent that out to me the other week. This rat walks around the corner of a cabinet, and he's the size of like a small dog. I'm thinking, I didn't know rats could grow that big, but you're working on that one. Did we see anything more about the pest, or maybe he left town early? I don't know.
Well, we don't know if he's with us anymore or not, Gary. He's getting some food that isn't healthy for him, and right. So we haven't found him, but we know that he's been active eating our food.
Yeah, we like that, right? Because the more of your food he eats, the more a chance he won't be back. And the fact that we haven't seen him again does speak well. Now, as we move into the fall season, Steve, is there anything people should know about pets that's a little different than maybe in the summertime or in the springtime?
Yeah, it's a great question, Gary. So, as the nights are getting cooler, just like people, insects and rodents want to be warm, so they're pushing in more. So everything from bees pushing yellow jackets and hornets pushing further into the house because they're getting cold and they can't take that, so they push in. The mice are looking for shelter. They don't want to be out in the cold. Even spiders and other things start populating a little bit closer and a little bit heavier at the house area. So, yeah, so everything is going to be looking for warmth. Mouse season will be coming. Stinging insects, wasp, hornets. This is their prime time. We're getting multiple calls for that a day. So right now, yeah, it's the time when things are going to start moving in.
You know, you mentioned spiders, Steve. My wife was talking to someone the other night, and they said they've had more problems with spiders this year. And it seems like a lot of people are saying that more problems with spiders this year. Has there been something different this year that has made maybe the accumulation of spiders bigger, or is that just something that's happening in a particular area? Maybe you haven't seen that as much.
Well, the weather's definitely been a factor. I mean, we're in a relatively dry spell now, but it was a wet summer, and that always gets everything going. It gets the ants that you had going. It gets spiders and other insects moving more. So, yeah, it's been a challenging year, but we're used to that. So, yeah, it's been good.
Steve, one of the great things about you, locally owned, locally operated, people see your face in the community. And one of the things you do that I think is really, really admirable, 1% of the net profits are donated to local charities. That's something when a family business does that. And you have more than 50 years of pest control experience. I tell people about that all the time. You got affordable programs designed for people's needs. I'm on a quarterly program where you're checking on me on a regular basis, and I really find that to be valuable. Tell people very quickly about how your business operates and what you're looking to do for people here in the York, Hanover, and Lancaster area.
Yeah, so we are local. We're in Lancaster, York, Adams counties, and we try and be part of the community, Gary. We not only try and help charities out, but we also get into situations where it's just a dire need, and there's just no funds there available, or very limited funds there available, and we try and work. We'll work with organizations.
Right.
We'll work with people one-on-one. So, we're part of the community. We've got to give back, and every one of my employees are part of a community.
Yeah.
So, as a group, we all work together and try and give back.
A place that gives back, but also gives help. And the help comes in the form of pest control, residential and commercial pest control. It is TES, Total Exterminating Services. Steve Shetter is the owner. They're trusted, they're local, they're family-owned. Give them a call today, will you? Tell them Gary Sutton, a client, proudly sent you at 717-951-3868. Write it down, 717-951-3868, or go to steven.shetter@testpest.com, or if you want to check them out, TestPest, TESPEST.com. Steve, I really appreciate you, man. You're doing a great job out there, and more and more people are getting to know about you every day, and more people are coming your way, and that's what we want to see, especially the pests. When they see you coming, they get going, right?
Yep, we'll take care of any issue that they have going on, Gary.
And thanks so much, my friend. Test Pest, the sponsor of this hour on the Gary Sutton Show. Steve, have a great rest of your week, man.
Hey, appreciate you. Thank you. You do the same, Gary.
Take care, buddy. Steve Shetter over at Test Pest. I'll tell you what, good people. Good people be around, and they'll serve you with a smile, and they care. They really, really do. When we come back, Corey Thurman checks in with us today. He was a pitcher for the Revolution for 8 years, one of the most beloved pitchers we ever had here, one of the most beloved players we ever had here. But we're going to ask about what minor league baseball means to a community beyond the baseball part, okay? That means something to you. If you live in the community here, what does the York Revolution mean to our community? Corey's going to give you his take on it when he joins us here at 8:35, all on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 8:30. This guy had more talent in his little finger than most people had in their whole bodies. Michael Jackson. Guy who left the Jackson 5, the Jacksons, to do his own thing. And man, did he put out a body of work, Mark.
Absolutely. And this is from 92. Black and white. It was actually
there it is,
a comp. What was it called? It was like a greatest hits album that he put together, and this was one of the songs that wasn't a hit yet.
Right.
But he would go on to make it one.
Yes, he did. Everything he sang, he made it hit,
Pretty
for
much.
heaven's sake. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, and this hour being brought to you by Test Pest. That's exactly right. Total exterminating services, trusted, loyal, family owned. Give him a call today. The owner is Steve Shetter. He's local, and he serves York, Lancaster, and Hanover. And 717-951-3868 is his number. You can find him at steven.shetter@testpest.com. I know a guy who used to eliminate baseball pests. Yeah, if you were a York Revolution fan, this guy was a former pitcher for the Revolution for a number of years, still holds a lot of the records here. And when it came to being a stopper, he was one of the best ever for the Revolution. Corey Thurman, good friend, joins us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
What's going on, Sud? How you doing this morning, man? I'm hanging in there this morning.
I am doing well. Great to have you. I said you were a guy that eliminated the baseball pests every now and then. When we came to ending a losing streak, you were the guy that stepped in and stopped it all, right?
Yes, sir. For the most part, you like to know like yourself as that because, when you look at yourself, I always looked at myself as a number one starter, no matter what. In the Greg Maddux mode.
Right.
I'm going to throw strikes, and we're going to win this ball game today because we're competing and we're going to win. And if we lose 2 in a row, man, I'm not trying to lose ever. So let's stop it right now, especially if it's a 4 or 5 game losing streak. I got to step it up. Because if I lost the first game of the streak, I can't come back and lose the second one of the streak.
Right. And that very seldom ever happened here. You're a guy that still owns a lot of records here in the record books at York Revolution over these past 20 plus years. Hey, I wanted to ask you, though, this morning, as you look at, and again, you've made York your home. I mean, you came here, you pitched here, and you decided to make York your home. What does minor league baseball mean to a community? You've gotten involved in the community. You're on the school board. You're on various organizations. You're helping constantly at benefit tournaments, being the pro on the one team, knocking shots off. But you're constantly engaged with people. Tell me, in your opinion, and from your particular vantage point, which I think is unique, having been a player here, what minor league baseball means to a community like York.
You know what? Like, this community, it means so much. And people don't realize that, like, when you're there, you have to immerse yourself in that community. Like, one of the other communities that I immersed myself in was in Wilmington, Delaware. And then I went back and did a camp for the Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association in Wilmington. And there was a lady there with her kid, and she was like, I worked at the stadium when I was a teenager when you were playing. And, you know what I mean, like, and just being in the community, being around. She's like, I remember you did a camp for my brother when you were there. And that was in Wilmington, Delaware in 2000. 1999, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, that means a lot. And then being here, especially, with my wife being from here, Central grad, athlete, the whole nine, did her thing. And it's just amazing to see how, it affects other people's lives. Like, going to the grocery store, I'm seeing people going to Rudders. Guys are working there. Corey, man, what's going on? We're going, hey, man, good to see you, man. What are you doing now? And how's everything going? And then going to Wise, or going to Giant, and you're seeing people who work there who, spent their hard-earned money, and they've been working in those jobs for so many years, and they're just happy that you say hello. And to me, that means more than the world, because I'm just Corey, to be honest with you. I'm just myself. And that's what I look at more than anything. I've always been myself. And then that goes down from everyone. I've always been who I need to be for me. And I fell in love with my wife and then fell in love with York all at the same time. Wow. And it was amazing. It was like a crazy, I know it's funny to say, but marriage. Yeah. It's a crazy marriage, really and truly, because I fell in love with my wife. We got married. We're here in York. Boom. Then you're married to the city. You know what I'm saying? And your life is part of this. and us living in Central now, where she graduated high school, it's a cool thing, man. It's just like, it's crazy because I was just sitting here and I went to a meeting I had last night, and then the bus driver is one of the Red Line school board members. He's on that board with me that for York Adams Academy, and so we're affecting lives over there. But he drives the bus and picks my son up to take him to Round Town Elementary, and so it's kind of like, it's just weird how everything just goes together, man. It's really cool.
When you look at minor league baseball, and you've had a chance to play in the major leagues, be part of all that, you've had a chance to play in a number of places. Minor league baseball in our country has become kind of a really interesting niche, because when you go there, you go there for the baseball, and a lot of people get attachments, and they want to know the standings, and they want to know where people are in the playoffs and win championships and all that. But it is so much bigger than that now. I mean, when you look at the entertainment factor and the entertainment dollar that you're taking out there, I mean, you're walking in those gates every night, and you close the gates behind you, man, you forget about a bad day. You forget about a bad thing that happened, and all of a sudden, there you are. You got merry-go-rounds, you got slides, you've got concessions, you've got people, your neighbors you're seeing, you got some new friends you're making. I mean, it's a whole different thing, isn't it? Talk a little bit about minor league baseball and kind of that niche in the country that it occupies right now, Corey.
You know what? America's pastime is baseball. You know what I mean? I know the NFL's king and NBA runs and stuff right now as far as that, but America's pastime is baseball. People have been watching minor league baseball since the inception of the game. And it's just a thread of us. It's like, that's why it's like, you know, hot dogs, baseball, apple pie. That's all part of it. You know, hot dogs and baseball, they go together. Apple pie, people are figuring out how to put that at ballparks too, with ice cream and different helmets and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's kind of like, you know, baseball is part of the American fabric. And that's where the minor league cities mean something, because some people either A, can't get to a major league game because they're not close. You know, that's a 4 or 5 hour trip for some people. You know what I mean? And then for some people, they can't afford it. And it's okay, but they can get the free tickets from their job and then go and spend the $40-50 and be able to enjoy a minor league game and not have to, you know, and have a beer or two, you know what I'm saying? And then have sodas and stuff. You know, major league games, I understand. It's expensive, man. Guys were telling me that major league games, their drinks are mad expensive.
Yeah.
And then you got to pay for parking, and you got to pay for all, and people are willing to do that. Like, people spend their paychecks to go to Major League Baseball games, to NFL football games. That's a lot. You don't have to spend your whole paycheck to go to a minor league game. That's why, because the minor league game is the common man.
Yeah.
And it seems like anyone can play in the minor leagues. Anyone can have a shot. Not everyone can play in the big leagues. I was just one of the ones that was blessed to play in the big leagues, but I appreciated the minor leagues just as much and even more for my development as a human being more than as a baseball player.
Talk about how it made you develop as a human being. What did you learn? I mean, you that's a great statement. I've never heard anybody really talk about that much. How did minor league baseball help develop you as a human being?
You realize that, hey, dude, you cannot sit up here and have everything given to you. You have to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches between games. You have to either, and not everyone is a bonus baby. I was lucky enough to go in the 4th round, so I had a little money, you know what I'm saying, coming up as a 17 to 22-year-old in the minors. When you do that and you have a little money, it's okay, but, like, think about the guy who was drafted in the 20th round. The guy who didn't get much, who's a college senior who only got $5,000. You know what I mean? This guy's living paycheck to paycheck, and he's only getting $1,000 every 2 weeks, and they're taking taxes, and they're taking money out for his apartment. So now this guy has to live off of the McDonald's value meal. And I'm serious.
I get it. I do.
And that's how athletes, but you want him to be the best athlete he can be, but he can't. He's living off of food, fast food. You know, that's not, like, you know, people have dietitians and nutritionists nowadays. You don't, like, back in the day, we didn't have that. So we had to learn, and this was a great thing for me when it came out, the George Foreman grill. When that came out, it was like, you know, my trainer and strength and conditioning coordinator, they were like, hey, this is what you do. Go buy you a Foreman, and then just go buy a bunch of chicken breasts from the store, and then just use the Foreman, season it up how you want, and use that and eat that. And then playing with a lot of Latino ball players. My Latinos, man, you know, I speak Spanish. Yo habla español, everyone out there. Yo, I speak Spanish because I played in Venezuela for 7 years and Mexico for 1. in the winter. And when you do that, it's like you learn that, hey, man, rice and chicken, rice and pork chops. It's like they would always cook, and I would take them to the store because I had the car. And see, that's what I'm saying about life. I would take them to the store, and they would buy whatever they want, and then they'd always fix me a plate. That's how I came in love with the arroz con pollo, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And stuff con carne. I've been able to do that in my life because I learned that. And then the greatest thing is that when I went to play in Venezuela, they took care of me. They drove me everywhere because I didn't have a car. When I was in Mexico, they're like, come on, man, you rolling with us. And so when I say it built me as a man, my life experiences, the things that I've seen because of the minor leagues in baseball and being in the minor leagues and being able to travel to different countries and play, because, big leaguers aren't going to play except the ones who are from there. You know what I mean? But American major leaguers aren't going down and playing in Venezuela. Like Aaron Judge is not going to go play in Venezuela.
Right.
It's not worth it for his contract. But a minor league outfielder who's making $6,000 a month, which that sounds like a lot, but it's one of those, he can go down there and make 15. You see what I mean?
And the Mexican League, for example, is paying a lot more now too. And you look at all that; those are great stories. I mean, so in other words, you hit reality, man. And how do you deal with reality? You grow up as a person, and you learn a new language. For example, you learn new foods. You learn the best kind of food you can eat. Get the George Foreman grill out. Go do your grilling and all that. Yeah, just some great stories there, Corey. I really appreciate you, man. And thank you so much for taking time to join us this morning and changing days with me. You'll be back with us next Thursday, but always good talking to you, my friend.
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it, son, man. Good to see you, man. And we got to hit the links one of these times.
I'm ready.
And get out there.
I'm ready.
All right, let me know.
Corey Thurman, right here on the Gary Sutton Show. I'll tell you what, when he pitched, he was full of enthusiasm. It hasn't changed, Mark. He is still one of the most enthusiastic guys. You'll get a hug from him whenever you see him. But he is involved, and the nuggets that he gives you about wisdom, playing as a minor leaguer and as a major leaguer. And also, he's now involved in the community. Like I said, he's a school board member. He's a father. He stayed here. He came here, and he decided to make York his home. Corey Thurman here with us here. He's normally with us on Thursday mornings. Changed this morning because Julie Wheeler is going to be here tomorrow in his spot. Okay, all here on the Gary Sutton Show. This hour, again, being brought to you by Test Pest. You want to get rid of the pests? Yeah, they're all coming indoors right now. Yeah, they are, because it's like 52 degrees today. They want to be warm too. Pests are people too. Not really. We kill the pests. We get rid of them. Okay, and that's what Steve does so well. Give him a call today at 717-951-3868. We take a break. We come back with the final thoughts, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me.
I always thought this was a creepy song.
Oh,
yeah.
Like how?
Like right here.
I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my
Yeah,
shirt.
just
so
it
sexy,
just
it
this sounds like the guy you'd hear on a phone on the other end of a whisper.
Too sexy for Milan.
Yeah. Didn't they play this in that Jack Lemmon? What was that that movie?
Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy Old Men. They played it in that. I remember Jack Lemmon. I thought, ugh. It was disturbing. Disturbing. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show. Here you go, Mark.
Right said Fred.
Yeah, here's a guy. We haven't gone to British Columbia for a lot of stories, but this one is worth hearing because this is a guy. This guy is set for the rest of his life with his wife. A Mission, a BC man. Mission is where he lives. British Columbia man has recovered his wife's lost wedding and anniversary rings. Now, you might say, well, that's pretty good.
Did she lose them?
After an unusual and rather stinky search through 18 tons of compost at the local dump. Wow. And I mean dump in every sense of the word. Steve Van Seldik's wife, Janine, noticed the rings were missing after washing her hands at a restaurant. We left the restaurant. I'm like, I can't even wait for the check, she said. The couple retraced their steps and realized the rings must have gone missing the night before. After an outing at the movies, Gene Van Seldik had brought some popcorn home. See, Mark, here we go. But spilled it on the lawn. Somehow, while picking it up and tossing it into the compost, the jewelry must have come off.
That's ridiculous. I mean, really? The rings were that loose?
They were that loose, yeah. By the time the couple figured it out, their garbage and compost had already been collected. So I said, I'd go to the dump in the morning and ask if I could go through the compost pile, said her husband. Few people thought he had any chance of finding the rings, including an employee at the Mission Sanitary Landfill. My brain was trying to figure out a way to tell him to go buy his wife new wedding rings, said contractor Danny Webster. But admiring Van Seldik's determination, Webster agreed to help. Here's Tom Sawyer painting the fence. He used an excavator to isolate smaller sections of the compost pile so Van Seldik could begin his search. When he has something on his mind, he makes sure he does it. He follows through, said his wife. Yeah, now you're saying it. So Van Seldik began sifting through those piles of compost, crap, and he began to recognize his household waste, including the popcorn bag, Mark. Astonishingly, within an hour, he found one ring and then the other, and it was all slimy with popcorn and butter and other stuff, described Webster. So husband called wife to deliver the good news. She basically broke down crying. Cried all the way home, he said, against the odds. And despite the smell, the search was a success. With a smile, Janine Van Seldik insisted their 26-year-old marriage is now even stronger. I hope so, baby. Well, yes, because I know how much he loves me, that he's willing to go through a rotten, stinky compost pile, she said, laughing, to find my rings.
I think they should get those rings resized.
I'll tell you what, this guy's got some favors in the bank.
Yes.
He really does.
So don't forget today, National Petroleum Day, mainly because it was discovered in Titusville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
First commercially successful oil well, 1859. It's Tarzan Day. So give a good yell out there. World Rock, Paper, Scissors Day. So if you have difficult decisions to make, maybe use that.
And by the way, in the biggest news of the day today, beyond the rock, paper, scissors, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, you know who they are, right? You're from planet Earth. Okay, they're engaged. Yeah, Taylor is beyond excited, and all those breakup albums, she finally gets to write a divorce album. So I think that's great. I mean, she's going to get the right. No, not seriously. Travis and Taylor are engaged. Yeah. Do you want to break the news to your cat, or should I? I mean, after Travis proposed, this is the word that's out in the street.
Yes.
Taylor said that magic word, yes, followed by that other magic word, prenup. That two words, yes,
Probably.
and prenup. Yeah.
Yes.
Andy Reid's happy. Engagements means weddings, and weddings mean cake. Andy's going to really happy about that. So, which means Taylor can finally stop pretending she likes football. She can skip the games now, quick on to the games, and quick on through that whole rigmarole because, Taylor
she knows about it.
Taylor being in a committed relationship can only mean one thing. Her albums are going to suck from now on. I mean, I just,
really?
all the breakup albums. Remember that?
Really?
Everything was
Yes.
about
All the angst is, what's the angst going to be about now? Not getting to share the,
there you go.
The remote control?
Taylor Swift's Instagram caption to her engagement photo was, quote, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married," unquote. Aww. Is that accurate? I'm pretty sure gym teachers have to finish high school. I'm just saying. But there you go.
So, couple of things.
Yes.
That we didn't get
You're still
to.
stunned by all that news about Travis and
well, the one thing I saw on Facebook, and I don't remember where I saw it, but it was a little line. It said, referee has overruled the engagement because Travis' knee did not touch the ground.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there was a picture at a rose garden of Travis on a knee giving the ring to Taylor Swift. And I thought to myself, get used to that position, bud. Kiss the ring on a regular basis. So there it is.
Entertainment news. I saw this today and I thought, wow, that's interesting. YouTube TV's number one.
YouTube remains locked in as the top TV platform in the country, and its lead widened in July. Nielsen's media distributor Gauge shows YouTube claimed a little over 13% of all TV viewing between June 30th and July 27th. That's a 4-point edge over second place Disney at 9.4%. Netflix ranked third at nearly 9%. Together, YouTube and Netflix made up more than 1/5 of all TV viewing, matching the total for all cable networks and surpassing broadcast. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
And here's a guy that's going to prison because he faked his own death.
Ryan Borgwart received 89 days in jail Tuesday after taking a plea deal. Prosecutors say he faked his own drowning death while kayaking on Lake Green, 100 miles northwest of Milwaukee. The 45-year-old left his wife and 3 children to meet another woman overseas. Borgwart overturned his kayak, made his way back to shore, rode an electric bike 70 miles to Madison, where he caught a bus to Toronto and then a plane to Paris. His ultimate destination was the country of Georgia. The 89-day sentence is equal to the amount of time from when he was declared missing to when investigators contacted him overseas. Tom Graham, Fox News.
Hogwarts probably wishes he was in Hogwarts now because he would be much safer there than he is where he's going to be going next. Anyway, this hour has been brought to you by TES, Total Exterminating Services. Trusted local family-owned Steve Shetter is ready to get rid of your pest today. Give him a call at 717-951-3868 or go to Steven.Shetter, SHETTER, at TestPest, TESPEST.com. You can find him at testpest.com or on the web. Residential and commercial pest control serving York, Lancaster, and Hanover. We've had a great time being with you today, ladies and gentlemen. Go Revs tonight. Let's get a win over Long Island. 6:15 is airtime. Darryl will bring that to you from out in Long Island. I'm Gary Sutton for Mark McKenzie. Have a great day, everyone. Stay cool out there. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6. It is 9 o'clock.